Hi, I'm Adrienne Daly, lifestyle nutrition coach, personal trainer, and figure competitor. And I did a video on protein shakes and how to, get a little bit of variety. Adding coffee was one of the things that I like to do to make my coffees more functional and yummy. And I got some feedback from people that said, oh, I wish I could do coffee, but it's just not something I can tolerate anymore because I've either got GERD or I've got acid reflux or I've got acid indigestion. And I just thought, I know exactly what to do. And that is doing or drinking cold brew coffee. And I have this little system, this guy here. It's called the Toddy. And this reduces your, says it right here on the box, reduces your, the acid in the coffee by 67%. So that's pretty significant. Yeah, and you're never actually brewing the coffee hot. It just sits at room temperature. And anyway, it's very easy to follow the instructions. It's literally, I just didn't want to put you through it, but it's following 1, 2, 3, and you're done. And you're just adding, fresh water, bottled water, and ground coffee, medium ground coffee, and whatever you like to drink. There's more caffeine in the lighter roasts than in the darker roasts. And of course, no caffeine or decaf is going to have caffeine in it. So if you're someone that gets real jittery from coffee but does like the flavor, cold brew is really great because it not only decreases the acidity that causes problems, but it also decreases the caffeine, which also causes problems as well. And so the cold brewing is going to eliminate those extra little bits of caffeine that's in the coffee, even when it says it's decaf. So this is for that reason, it's another great way to go. So yeah, you just do this overnight. When it's done, with its cold brewing, you just uncork it, you let it drain into the little glass container here. Pull this guy off. It's going to be all coffee grounds in there, and you can add that coffee ground to your compost or make a scrub out of it, or do whatever you want. Add it to maybe cooking. You could add coffee flavor to like a banana bread or something like that. Anyway, so then you come along and you cork it, and this guy sits in your fridge for up to 2.5 or so weeks, providing you don't add anything to it. I think if you start adding things like milk and sweeteners and maybe water and kind of reconstituting it, because it's a concentrate, then you're going to mess with its little cold shelf life. So just keep it as it is, and here's how you can use it. You can use it straight. Now, I like to use my coffee as a pre-workout. I don't go for any of those wild mixes that have just an ever so little bit of caffeine, which is what you're really getting it for, and then a ton of like chemical ingredients that you can't pronounce and you just do not want in your body. Okay, you want to just keep everything minimally processed. And so you can, put that into a protein shake. You can mix it half water. You can just pour into a glass and just shoot it straight, and then off you go. And it does take the caffeine to really about 30 or so minutes to hit that peak time. So it gives you enough time to drive to the gym before you start feeling like, I gotta lift some weights. So that's pretty cool. And then you can make this hot again. So by putting it in the microwave in your coffee cup, so starting your day not with a cold cup of coffee, but with a hot cup of coffee, you can just stick this into the microwave, heat it up, and then if you've got, and if it's too strong for you, I like to use my little kettle. Kettle that you plug in water and just send that to boil, and then just kind of keep adding it to taste to see where it feels right for you, so it's not too watery and still kind of leaded feeling. You can make it fancy by using almond milk as well, so you can make yourself a latte or a cappuccino. And I use HEB's almond milk. I mean, it's still processed. It's still got a lot of nonsense in it, but it does froth really well, and it's my go-to. Now, if you've got the time to do your own almond milk with just nuts and water in your food processor until it's thin, and then you strain it, that's the best way to go. And then you can sweeten that up with whatever you like instead of relying on, you know, the flavors that you're going to get at the market that are going to be natural. Anyway, so you can froth that up, or you can heat it up in the microwave, or, and what is kind of the rage right now, is just doing an iced coffee, and that's pouring, you know, however much coffee you want in, and coming along with equal parts water, or a splash of water, or coming along with your cold milk or almond milk or whatever you milk you want to use, and then just drinking it with a straw, and you've got this yummy shake, not shake, but coffee that's going to kind of fill you up and satiate you a little bit, especially if it's kind of, you know, a time where you really can't eat. So a nice yummy coffee drink would really hit the spot. And if you are the kind of person that's reaching for a can of Coke because you want that caffeine in the middle of the day, Coke only has about 30, 40, 50 grams of caffeine, milligrams of caffeine, whereas coffee can have upwards of 70 to 100 milligrams of caffeine. So do yourself one better and do an iced coffee over a Coke, where you're getting all that sugar and not half the buzz that you think you're going to get. And come along, I love to use stevia. That's my sweetener of choice. It's natural. I love sweet leaf stevia. It's got minimal flow agents. A lot of those other Truvia's, stevia, whatever that's out there, stevia in the raw, all of that nonsense, big thick sugar packages, that's not stevia. This thing came from a leaf, and now it's a giant package as if it was sugar. No, you want this little guy. I mean, it's a thin little powdery, you know, bitter little thing, but it really does sweeten really, really well. And you can get it in package just like any other thing. So you can have this on the go and in your purse. They also come in little teeny dropper bottles, and all sorts of flavors, from orange to chocolate to caramel to almond to coffee to all sorts of flavors. So you can add this to water if you don't want to drink water, which is super important. You got to get your water in. So if you hate the taste of water, add just one little teeny think of sweet leaf stevia drops, and it'll sweeten the whole bottle. Even like a 33-ounce bottle, it'll do the trick. So yeah, so go for you know, the iced coffees. And of course, I love Cat's coffee. And a big part of, you know, being paleo is not just eating all the meat that you can eat, but caring about your environment and where your food comes from. And this little guy, which is one of my favorites, is called Early Bird, and it's got this sweet little red bird on it. This particular coffee supports our Houston Arboretum. So portions of this coffee goes back into our ecosystem, and creating a habitat for these birds to migrate from Central America, South America, wherever they're from, and know that they're going to be taken care of. And then they go back home to the coffee plantations, which are supported by these free bird shade, what's it called? Let's see, what's another one? Organic shade grown. So their little system is protected. So the flora and the fauna is just all intact. And that's so important, that we care and we take action steps to make sure that we support companies that support our wholeness and our need now to be as healthy as we can be, and to take the small steps that we can to be as healthy and put the right things in our body. So go Cats, you guys are awesome. And they're local here, roasters, and they're, you know, all over Texas and in probably most of the restaurants that you eat at. They've got fair trade, organic. This is a great one, this little Peru, Guatemala, again, the organic shade grown coffee. They've got Jumping Mouse, which is such a yummy, flavorful coffee. I mean, they do great flavors. And that's another thing with the cold brew, is it's naturally going to pull out the flavors. So if your coffee is supposed to have all of these flavors in it, like blueberry and chocolate and essence of, I don't know, lime, you don't taste it because it's so bitter or it hurts. And that's a waste of money. You want to taste all the exotic flavors that have been put into, this coffee bean. So it's naturally sweeter. And when you drink it, you really do feel like the softness. And it's like, wow, that acidity was probably kind of jacking with my system a little bit too, because I do drink a lot of coffee. And they do say no more than 200 milligrams a day. So 2 cups of coffee for most of us, and I know a lot of people that do that before they got both feet on the ground. So make the most of your coffee and make sure you're putting the best in your body that you can. Let's see, so I think that's it about the cold brew. Give it a whirl. I mean, homemade is the best way to go. It's a great pre-workout. It's a great pick-me-up in the middle of the day. It's a great way to enjoy your coffee in the morning hot. And yeah, and this big jar is going to last you whatever, as long as it lasts you. And a pound of coffee costs about $10 from Katz, and that's better than buying those little single jars or little bottles that start at like $3 and $4 and $5, depending on how fancy the bottle is, for a cold brew that's full of sugar and milk and a bunch of other yucky stuff that you do not want in your body when all you want is a jolt of energy. So get your day started right, or continue your day on the right track by taking great steps to ensure your own health and take it into your own hands. And thank you so much.